In the depths of the ocean, life moves at a slow rhythm. This is a space separate from the world we are familiar with, filled with silence, emptiness, and darkness. Countless strange creatures drift through the invisible water. Each new discovery helps us better understand the natural processes at work here, revealing an ever more complex system. In 1843, the naturalist Edward Forbes proposed the azoic theory, suggesting that as depth increases, the number and diversity of marine life decreases, and that life disappears entirely below 550 meters. Today, this theory has been disproven. We now know that the deep sea hosts rich biodiversity distributed across multiple interconnected ecosystems. In the deep ocean, life is concentrated around chemosynthetic oases. In these regions, bacteria use chemical reactions to convert hydrocarbons into nutrients, making life possible. Cold seeps and hydrothermal vents are classic examples. Although these areas are dense with life, other regions of the deep sea also support life, but under completely different survival conditions. Non-chemosynthetic deep-sea regions can be generally divided into two main types. The first is the midwater zone, which spans a vast portion of the water column. Here, long-distance migrators traverse entire oceans, while plankton and their predators emit faint light in the darkness. They drift through the water, moving with ocean currents, maintaining life with minimal energy expenditure. Deeper still lies the world of the deep sea floor. The seabed resembles an alien landscape covered in mud and sediment. Sessile organisms cling to any available rock, filtering drifting debris from the water. The deep sea floor is an area rich in sediment and decaying organic matter, where resources are scarce and conditions are harsh. Yet closer observation reveals complex ecological structures. Corals on seamounts form massive frameworks, and sponge structures provide shelter for many other organisms. Some of these oases persist for many years. These two deep-sea regions differ greatly, yet they are closely connected. At the same time, they interact with other ecosystems on Earth, forming a single, integrated whole. Now, let us enter the first deep-sea world, the midwater zone. Before we officially begin our exploration, share your small goal in the comments. You never know, it might come true. The information ahead is dense, so please listen carefully. The deep sea is defined as the region below 200 meters beneath sea level. The average depth of the ocean is 3,688 meters. This means that most of the ocean belongs to the deep sea, and the majority of it lies within the midwater zone. This is a biological space with a volume exceeding 1 billion cubic kilometers, the largest ecosystem on Earth and one of the least understood by humans. Although it may appear vast and empty, it is far from lifeless. Based on depth and light conditions, this region can be divided into multiple vertical layers, each with unique survival conditions, inhabited by organisms with remarkable adaptation abilities. Shown here is the research vessel Falkor. 2. One of the most advanced ocean research ships in the world. Its mission is to explore Earth's vast marine ecosystems. Since 2009, the Schmidt Ocean Institute, a non-profit marine research organization, has been dedicated to deep-sea exploration. They've completed more than 80 scientific expeditions, documenting a wide range of hidden life phenomena on the seafloor. Their remotely operated vehicle, Sebastian, allows the public to directly witness deep-sea imagery. Sebastian is equipped with multiple sensors and 4K camera systems, capable of exploring these dark regions, diving to depths of up to 4,500 meters into zones completely devoid of sunlight. But to understand the unique environment and challenges of the midwater zone, we must begin at the ocean's surface. The surface layer, also known as the sunlight zone, is the uppermost layer of the water column. extending from the surface down to about 200 meters. This is a region full of vitality. More than 90% of marine life lives here. Most of it is concentrated around tropical coral reefs, where food is abundant, conditions are stable, and survival and reproduction are favorable. Even in the open ocean far from land, the sunlight zone teems with life. One organism, the Portuguese man-of-war, has evolved a gas-filled float, allowing it to remain at the surface while its trailing tentacles are used to capture prey. It belongs to the floating community, living at the boundary between air and water. Sunlight penetrates the surface, making the upper layer the center of photosynthesis. Tiny plant-like plankton, phytoplankton, serve as primary producers, converting water and carbon dioxide into oxygen and glucose, providing energy for the ocean. This production of biomass sustains all non-chemosynthetic marine life. Without it, the deep sea would lose its nutritional foundation entirely. Descending from the surface, we enter a region of dim light, the twilight zone, also known as the mid-water zone. From this point onward, we officially entered the deep sea. Once depths exceed 200 meters, living conditions become significantly harsher. Light here is no longer sufficient to support photosynthesis, and phytoplankton disappear. The primary source of nutrients is a slowly sinking material known as marine snow. These organic particles include feces, dead remains, and other debris, falling from the sunlit waters above. Marine snow creates new survival opportunities for some organisms. In these dim waters, many strange creatures appear, most of them zooplankton, drifting with deep ocean currents, unable to swim against the flow. They are collective drifters, moving slowly through this space. One such organism is a decomposing polychaete worm related to earthworms and belonging to the annelids. Unlike earthworms, it does not burrow in soil but lives suspended in the water column. It propels itself by beating bristles along its body, like rowing with oars. After feeding, the digestive tract inside its transparent body reveals the color of its food. However, this also poses a risk because many of its prey possess bioluminescent abilities. Light emitted inside its body can reveal its position. Some organisms have evolved special solutions to this problem. Snoo jellyfish attract prey by waving cilia, which refract light into rainbow-like colors. Their bodies are deep red because red wavelengths cannot penetrate the deep sea. As a result, red coloration acts as camouflage in deep water. This allows them to conceal bioluminescent prey inside their stomachs, avoiding detection by predators. There are also organisms closely related to snails, such as transparent pelagic mollusks and certain siphonophores that swim upside down. These are not single individuals, but colonies composed of many tiny units, known as colonial organisms. They exhibit clear division of labor, with each component performing a different function. Swimming units provide propulsion, resembling the bell structure of jellyfish. Gas-filled structures regulate buoyancy. Tentacle units specialize in prey capture, their tentacles lined with stinging cells. This colonial organization resembles organ systems in multicellular animals, but offers even greater adaptability. Damage to one part does not threaten the survival of the entire colony. They can continuously clone themselves and, in theory, may live indefinitely. Some siphonophores are considered the longest animals ever recorded. Based on ROV measurements, some may reach lengths of up to 50 meters, longer than a blue whale. Many tunicates are also colonial organisms, including bioluminescent species and chain-like floating colonies. The life cycle of many jellyfish begins as a sessile polyp. After settling, the polyp develops, then reproduces asexually to form stacked segments, which later detach one by one, developing into adult jellyfish. Jellyfish inhabit the mid-water zone, and in regions far from the seafloor, many deep-sea jellyfish have completely lost the polyp stage, completing their entire life cycle in the water column. Some species even brood their young internally, encasing them within tissue for protection. When swimming, certain jellyfish extend their tentacles forward. This posture reduces water disturbance, allowing them to silently approach larger prey. It is important to note that all footage shown here was recorded under artificial lighting from remotely operated vehicles. In these environments, it is extremely dark, making it nearly impossible for prey to detect these slow-moving predators. In addition to passively drifting organisms, there are also actively swimming animals, known as nekton, distinguishing them from plankton. Many of these are cephalopods, such as squid, octopus, and cuttlefish. They are the largest and most intelligent invertebrates in the ocean. Cephalopods belong to the mollusks, related to snails and bivalves. However, their body structures are highly specialized, adapted for life in open water. Their main body is streamlined, and their appendages have evolved into 8 or more arms. Among the roughly 700 known cephalopod species, deep-sea forms are the most distinctive. At depths of around 650 meters, one can encounter an almost completely transparent octopus, the glass octopus. It measures about 40 centimeters in length. Its internal structures are barely visible, with only the eyes standing out clearly. A related glass squid also has large eyes and a transparent body, but it can change color at will by pumping ink into its tissues, turning itself deep red. This ink contains ammonia, which is less dense than seawater, helping maintain buoyancy. In the deep sea, transparency is easier to achieve than in shallower waters because there is no intense ultraviolet radiation, eliminating the need for pigment cells to block sunlight. Ink release is also a primary defense mechanism. When disturbed, these animals rapidly flee, simultaneously releasing ink. The ink forms clouds of blobs, strands, or other shapes, floating like ghosts in the water. These decoys, called pseudomorphs, serve as distractions. Some resemble jellyfish, others look like siphonophores. Sometimes, mimicking other organisms is itself a survival strategy. Juvenile squid have been observed mimicking siphonophores. Their ornate tails are twice the length of their bodies, closely matching siphonophores in shape and color. Even the positioning of appendages is carefully adjusted, making the disguise more convincing. Siphonophores are poor prey, being mostly water, low in nutritional value, and armed with stinging cells. By mimicking them, juvenile squid mislead predators, reducing the risk of attack. As adults, these squid become formidable hunters. They suddenly extend 2 long tentacles, ending in club-shaped structures with suction cups used to seize prey. For most organisms in the twilight zone, there is a deadly problem. When viewed from below, their body outlines stand out sharply against faint light, making them vulnerable to predators. To solve this, many species have evolved sophisticated camouflage strategies. One method is countershading, dark backs, light bellies, allowing them to blend in whether viewed from above or below. A more advanced strategy is active bioluminescence. Their bodies are equipped with light-emitting organs capable of adjusting brightness to match ambient light levels. For example, certain deep-sea fish have regularly arranged photophores, which synchronize their brightness while ascending, concealing their silhouettes. This principle has even inspired naval camouflage, counterillumination techniques that make ships harder to detect against the night sky. Active bioluminescence is only one of 3 major camouflage strategies. The other 2 are transparency and silvering. Transparency has already been discussed in glass octopus and plankton. Silvering relies on mirror-like reflection. For example, ribbonfish lack scales, their skin covered with tiny crystalline structures, giving it a metallic, highly reflective appearance. Under ROV lights, they're visible, but in natural light, viewed from the side, they're nearly indistinguishable. This effect is extremely effective. Many surface fish, including sardines and flying fish, also use silvering to remain concealed. A silvered body, viewed edge-on, is only a few millimeters thick, leaving almost no visible outline. The surface crystals not only reflect light, but also channel it toward photophores on the belly, assisting counterillumination. This mechanism serves a dual purpose. In deeper depths, the emitted light can interfere with predators' searchlights, further increasing survival. Silvering has also been observed in cephalopods, though they use light-reflective proteins rather than crystalline structures. Another squid species demonstrates an extreme adaptation, the strawberry squid. One of its eyes is large and bulging, while the other is much smaller. It maintains a body angle in the water, with the small eye facing downward, monitoring faint bioluminescence from below, and the large eye facing upward, capturing light filtering down from above. The large spherical eye has a yellow lens, possibly allowing it to see through the bioluminescent camouflage of prey, revealing their true form. In the twilight zone, such unusual eye designs are common. The reason many animals here possess extremely light-sensitive upward vision is clear. Life at this intermediate depth offers a unique advantage. Light is dim enough to provide concealment, yet not completely absent. These animals can detect subtle changes in light, allowing them to anticipate nightfall. And when night arrives, as surface predators become less active, deep-sea animals collectively ascend, moving toward shallower waters to feed. As darkness falls, vast numbers of deep-sea organisms rise from the midwater zone toward near-surface layers. Deep-sea jellyfish and siphonophores, along with many other species, gather near the surface to hunt. Following them is the entire midwater food web, sharks and many fish species, as deep-sea predators rise from below. These migrations connect plankton with their predators, creating a continuous vertical movement. This is the largest and most synchronized biological migration on Earth. Scientists suggest that this migration is linked to light layer preference. Organisms follow their optimal light conditions as illumination changes. An estimated 5 billion tons of biomass rise each night and descend again during the day. This massive movement is so dense that during World War II, it was mistaken by U.S. naval sonar for a second seafloor layer, leading to its first recorded discovery. This migration brings together organisms from many different groups, creating a deep-sea feast. Lanternfish, for example, are among the most widespread and abundant vertebrates on Earth. Their global biomass is estimated at up to 16 billion tons, accounting for about 65% of total deep-sea fish biomass. As a result, they are a crucial food source for many predators, forming a key link in the ocean food web. One notable predator is the vampire squid. Each night, they gather in groups, sometimes numbering up to 1,200 individuals near the surface. Their bodies flash red and white light, the exact meaning of which remains unclear, possibly mating signals or warnings to keep others away. When lanternfish are scarce, they may even turn to cannibalism. Studies show that around 1/4 of vampire squid contain remains of their own species, indicating a high level of cannibalistic behavior. This also explains how they can grow so rapidly, reaching over 1 meter in length within less than a year. This day-night migration forms one of the most important ecological mechanisms in the ocean, influencing global marine diversity and productivity. It demonstrates how life exploits natural rhythms to maximize resource acquisition across environments. Without this migration, deep-sea biodiversity would decline dramatically. It is also a key component of the biological pump. Midwater organisms feed near the surface and then transport nutrients and carbon into the deep ocean. These organic materials are consumed by deep-sea life through food webs and also sink as marine snow and fecal matter. This process not only isolates carbon from the atmosphere, but also supplies food to deep-sea ecosystems, especially in regions without sunlight. This migration creates a direct pathway for food to sink. However, below depths of about 1,000 meters, vertical migration becomes difficult and biodiversity rapidly declines. In this zone, even after hours of continuous travel, one may see almost no life. Yet, this is not a dead zone. In spite of the extreme conditions, the environment is remarkably stable, unaffected by sunlight, waves, tides, or other external forces. This stability has left the region largely unchanged for millions of years.